What's up? What's going on? So, Dougie Doug, I sent you the link by your Gmail as requested. I would have liked to meet you backstage, but I don't want to be late, you know? So just join in whenever you can. If you have any trouble, get in the chat, sir. I'll make sure that that's turned on and we'll get you straight in here as soon as you can, sir. Thank you for offering. I mean, not offering, but accepting and volunteering to do so. Thank you very much, sir. Mm. Cheers, everybody. How's it going? Oh. Doing pretty good over here, man. Doing pretty good. We want to talk to Dougie Doug tonight. Dougie Doug tonight, if he's willing. Thank you. Cheers, everybody. Enjoy yourself. In honor of Doug, again, I return with tea. Yes. You want to talk about an adult beverage? Good old tea. Please click like if you haven't. If you're new around here, get up in the chat. Tell me what you go by and what you're in for. We'll be waiting on Doug. Cheers. Got tea in your honor, Doug. If you have any trouble getting in, get in the chat and let me know, sir. I will send you a link again, but it should be in your Gmail. And you know, my phone has to be on the do not disturb mode for the stream. It's the best I can do. So hit me up in the chat, bro. No harm, no foul. Cheers, everybody. What's going on? Anybody got something to say, man? Let me know who you are and how you're doing today. What are you up to? Don't be shy to come in the chat, and don't forget to click the like. On the way in if you like it, on the way out if you do not. Share it with your socials. That'd be awesome. 420 friendly. I am resident of Virginia, over 21, completely legally consuming cannabis. Yes. Also, I wanted to add.
I'm here.
What's up, Doug? Yeah, we're here. We're live too. Is that okay? Absolutely, sir. Can you hear me? Yes, sir. We're already live. How you doing?
Now I gotta go find you.
Okay, you're gonna find the link
I'm
and
doing
everything.
good. I gotta find you on YouTube.
Okay, no problem, man. All right, so we got Dougie Doug joining us right now. He's gonna grab the link, right?
I'm coming. I'm here.
Right. Oh no, I know, but you were grabbing the link. I was giving you a shot.
I'm there.
Right on. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate it. So you can chat in as well. That's great. I'm not able to chat in, but I will address the chat as it comes through. Thank you, Doug. Hey, Doug, I wanted to use the old High Times logo with the biplane, you know, as a thumbnail, but I couldn't get one that was like, you know, I didn't want to steal. So I couldn't get one. But since I wanted to talk about travel, I really wanted to do that.
Okay.
Have you ever seen one of those lighters that has the High Times biplane on it? I'd really like to get an old Zippo that's, you know, a legit Zippo like that.
No, I've seen plenty of Zippos. I own a Zippo. It's still in the case. Someone gave it to me back in the '90s as a present. It's got, you know, the fluid, and it's got the brand new in the case. I don't think it's a fancy. I don't think it's a fancy Zippo. It's not inscribed. There's nothing on it. It's just a silver case with a hinged lid. Yeah.
Well, the two that remain with me.
I've never used it though. I've never used it.
It can be inconvenient carrying it around because where do you put the fuel? And, you know, does it leak in your jeans? But they're better than other brands, at least. It has to be a genuine Zippo to really qualify. You know what I mean? The knockoffs are really no good.
Not biplane though.
Oh, I was talking about the High Times magazine. I wanted to talk to you about commercial travel. So they used to have the logo, the biplane that was, you know, maybe moving something. Maybe moving bricks. Okay. Yeah. I was just looking for sort of a freeware version of that. It just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. But that is what I wanted to talk about, if you don't mind. You know, you told me about when you started traveling, and it's a big part of your life now.
I travel, within the United States now, mostly, although I have been to Iceland. It's different.
Okay. What about family visits?
Well, I have family all over the world. I mostly visit them here nowadays.
Okay.
However, my
Yeah, I
trip
was
to England was to visit family. My aunt wasn't doing well.
good. Good. So you went to visit her. Was that out of country? In England? Okay. So that's a recent trip to the UK. Daughter, please go this way. You know I told you. Oh wow. I'm glad that you made a recovery from that. Right. I'm glad she's on the mend because
Now,
that's scary.
when I was much younger, I spent a lot of time in England in her house, like under her, like you know what I mean. So she's like, you know, I'm very close to my aunt. You know,
Is she like a mother sister, father sister?
my mother's sister.
Okay.
She flew out. She flew out when my twins were born. She flew out
Your
to
mother's
visit. You
sister
know
has
what I mean?
never lived in the United States.
No, they were both born in Brazil. They were
Okay.
both born in Brazil. My mother and her sister. Their father's Scottish, their mother's English. They were expats living
Right
in
on.
Brazil when my mother, her sister, and her brother were born. Now, when they were all young, they were all sent to school in England from about age 11 to like 16 or whatever. My mother did not carry on after 16 at school. In England, you don't have to. You take your O levels, you can go. You know what I
Is
mean?
that a basically a secondary school? That's high school up to 16, secondary?
That, that's high school. Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah. Okay. It makes total sense.
Now,
You got elementary and secondary.
now they went to elementary school in Brazil. They're all fluent in Portuguese. It is not really they spoke English in the house. You know,
Sure, sure. So you didn't get that. Portuguese is a very difficult language. It really is. It's a very difficult language. Do you have any Portuguese skills? Oh, I understand. Right. So you weren't exposed. Mhm, mhm. Right. 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 Right on. In Brazil before doing secondary in the UK. I get it. I get all that. That's awesome.
my mother's sister married an Englishman. My mother married an American. Actually, my dad too was born in Brazil. Right. So
Okay.
were his siblings, all of his siblings. But his father's American, and they were back and forth a lot when they were young. My dad went to high school in the United States. He served in the United States Army. Even though he was born in Brazil, his father was an American. Went
Right.
to Brazil on business. My grandmother is my only Brazilian grandparent, my dad's mother.
So
Now,
what does coming from expats, lead to you having a travel bug, like wanting to go to locations and, see
well, yeah, no,
different environments?
I've been going to Brazil since I was a small child, visiting my grandparents. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
my mother's best friend, she's a business owner. She's always been successful. She's a big deal in her town, you know what I mean? Um, and she has had a house in Brazil, I want to say since about 1992 that they've kept, with a full staff and everything like that. It just runs and it's always available to her, and her business
You gotta have
is
money. You
boom.
gotta have money to do that. Most Brazilians are dirt poor.
Right. But see, that's the
Not
thing when
mad
she
about
did get
most, but
in, when
yeah,
she got
you gotta
into
have
it,
money. Yeah,
when she got
yeah.
into it, because it was 92 and they were that poor, running the house was something over $3,000 a year. I mean, of course, it's astronomically higher now, but she also made connections by adopting a child there and getting with his family. You know what I mean? Bringing him here to give him different opportunities. So she knows what she's doing.
In-
Yeah.
Interesting thing about Brazilian culture versus
Mm.
American culture is in Brazil, the middle class all has domestic servants,
Right, right,
as
right.
well as not just the upper class, not just the rich, right?
And
Middle class families, by and large, have people come to clean and cook, stuff
so
like
in
that.
our culture,
To do
I've
to do
noticed.
to do the laundry and
Sure.
that kind of thing.
Okay,
Now,
so in our culture, what
I
I've
think
recently
domestic.
noticed. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, no, I've
I
just
was gonna say.
recently noticed that because of certain places where all classes go, nobody likes to talk about class here, but say grocery store, airport. If there's an attendant
Mhm.
there, the middle class is reticent to provide that person the job that they're trying to do. They don't want
Yes.
servitude, but they're actually denying that person their own opportunity because that's what
Well,
they're there for.
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's
There's a
amazing.
whole slew. There's a whole slew of young Brazilian women and men, I guess, who want that job,
Yeah.
and it doesn't pay all that great, but it's better than a kick in the head. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
And some
So,
people like to, bounce around, shoot the shit, and be in the sun and get a tan, like they do. It's a way of life that's like for me, landscaping is I can do landscaping just singing a song to myself. It's nothing to walk around with a weed eater all day. All day. It means nothing to me. I enjoy it. I get to think about other things. But some people that
yep.
would be like, "Oh, that's so hard and you're out in the elements." I do not care. I feel so free just wandering.
One thing I don't like is the sun.
Mm,
I don't. I don't. I When I was an iron worker, I had I would wear long sleeves
right, right.
because I didn't want the fucking sun shining on me all day. You know.
Right. And if you're building up, there's nothing above you except birds and
Yep.
airplanes. So yeah, I get it. I get it. When you're setting any sort of structure, I mean, because I haven't been in that, but I've been in cinder block, I've been in roofing, and I've been in tile, and I've been in all these things. And as you're building up, it's almost absurd sometimes that you have to wear a hard hat because you're on the map site, but there's nothing
It's called the
above you.
lead. It's called the lead edge. Yeah.
Right, right. It's wild. Yeah, that's
We're on
wild.
the lead edge. Up, up, up. Yeah. We're the first ones there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's terrible when you're the first ones there
Hmm.
because they haven't cleaned up. Well, around here, all the mud and the clay. They haven't cleaned any of that yet. So you just get your shoes sucked all the way into the earth.
So
Yes, sir.
no, that's I was just pointed out about the job, like you said. A lot of people in Brazil are happy to have the job, cooking, cleaning, and doing laundry for a regular middle class family. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. What's up, Dan? How you doing? We got Dougie Doug. You know Dougie Doug. Yeah. In my neighborhood where I grew up, it was not uncommon for a woman to do the laundry of a good 16 households. And then you compare it to where I'm at now, it's not uncommon for a woman to make 80 tamales on Sunday that she already sold to her coworkers through the week, like by pre-order. I mean, this is just how
Yep.
people live. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong about it. And for some people, it's the more familiar lifestyle. It actually works. Like when I go to any of my parents' or sisters' events, I'm cooking. You know what I mean? They know that. They don't bother me. They try to stay out of the way, which is impossible. But I just don't talk. I just run around. They don't have to tell me what they have. I just look, and that's my job. I just do it. you know, and they all welcome that because I do it for them. That's okay, Dan. A lot of people are suspicious of you. You see that you're not banned. Don't worry about it. Okay, Dan, let's move on. Remember, if you get on something for a rant, I got to time you out, but I never banned you. I just timed you. Don't worry about it, Dan. You're all good, bro. Back to the subject at hand. And that's travel and maybe the service industry and hospitality in general. There's all those ports that are set up just for hospitality, right? And that's where expats go.
Sure. Like you said, you pointed out the airport.
Yeah,
People don't use those services. Yeah.
right, right. And
Hmm.
well, a lot of people enjoy landing and having, people offer to, you know, uh, sell them trinkets or braid their hair or whatever. People enjoy the chaotic nature of that and the barter. And, it's a wild thing. And or people that bring, I don't know, like cold drinks through the sand. You can get the drink by
Hmm.
walking 20 feet behind you, but you'd rather actually kind of support this guy hand to hand and just no credit cards, no, 3 months. 3 months later, they got to pay a huge chunk of fees back on the cash you gave them. Just give them cash. You need to be smart about these things. Imagine an elderly man naked in an alley. What? Doing what? Oh, that's so wrong. That doesn't mean anything, actually. I won't imagine such. See you tomorrow. Please have respect that we have a guest, okay? And we're talking about travel and interesting things, cultural and social things that really are interesting to me because I believe if we were more upfront and honest about how people have their lanes and they want to be free to use them. When somebody says, "Hey, can I help you?" and you say, "Oh, no, I have no problem," you're not exactly telling them the truth in all cases either. So
No, well, you don't have to. If you, yeah, I mean, yeah, you
it's just a
exactly.
mix. It's a mixed
That's a
bag.
call at the shot. If you don't want to use someone's services, then you certainly don't have to,
Right,
right? I
right.
mean,
But if it's one of those like real pushes where they just hand you something and oh, by the way, tea in honor of you, Doug, I have tea. But they just hand you something and then ask you for the money. I mean,
oh,
don't run away with it and take advantage of them. Just drop it down and say no, 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 no. And it's all good. You say no 3 times, people are good. Say sorry, sir, I can't help you. If I say that 3 times to anyone that's worse off than me, they see it as I get you. Like you're not my audience. I'm gonna move on. No big deal. I don't know what disappeared, and I'm not worried about it. Damn, what's going on? Peace Rizzler and she on the right. Okay, yeah, whatever that means. Sorry, Doug. I'm just over here in the background. Don't worry about it.
I'm not worried.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
worried about nothing.
I realize that. I realize that. So, as you said, now the most of your family, although they live worldwide, will come visit in the U.S. Is that partially because they want to be present in the U.S. and go to the proper, go get the designer stuff or whatever we have? Right, right, right. When I first moved to this area about 99 or whatever, I was still in college and I decided that well the main business over here is the Dulles Airport. So I'll get there. But I'd already worked at like Wendy's and stuff, so I was doing that and then working outside in carnival jobs, working at the Nissan Pavilion, which is Jiffy Lube Live, the venue over here, all that kind of stuff. And but I eventually said, I see what the industry is here. It's the airport. I'm going to get there. And then they were talking
Hmm.
about building a Disney, which I wish they did because they'd take the top side of the East Coast and suck them all in and get their money and get them to go home too. But they didn't do that. It's going to be the data centers of Amazon. But either way, when I got here, I saw that as like that's the main industry. Let me get over there. So I got over there, and I just saw how all that worked. And yeah, it's kind of like being in a different country when you're in the corners of the airport there. It's very interesting, but it is an international hub, as you were saying, New York is. So there's a lot of benefits to being near that airport, Dulles, because they have to serve a community
Hmm.
that's completely global immediately. Immediately. So there was a thrift store where I would get wonderful suit jackets and things because they have to serve a global market right now. They just got off the plane. They may only have 2 days. It's amazing how the resources can be all pooled around something. But the airport's a fascinating place, and I'm glad I got in there to see some of it. It was too much for me. It's overwhelming. A lot of people, they get very. Oh, I just did baggage handling and driving the tugs, like baggage stuff. Yeah, outside driving those big long little truck trains. They're called tugs, and pulling a bunch of bags.
I know what the talk is. So
Yeah, yeah.
you
So
had to
when
have
when I
clearance.
did it,
You had to have clearance for that job, or
no, not quite. No, there were spies. They did that. We were federal land here, free here, free here. It was like that. So, no, we had spies everywhere. We were all subcontractors. They cut everything up. But the thing that would be overwhelming to me is some people would have pause in and like a genuine concern for everyone on the flight. I hope they make it. I really do. looking at the gates that were already shut down, you know what I mean? And they did it on every flight. And I say, how do you put that much strain on yourself in empathy every time you turn the knob at your job? Like you kind of not, you're not built for this if you're so invested. A lot of people were really stressed. Different world. But yeah, those areas that, like I said, there would be federal here, free here. You didn't want to be in those federal areas. And if you ever got caught without your ID, it's a big deal.
For me, when I was still working and iron worker in the city, very often
Right. Right.
right, you're all up there, 40, 50, 60 floors up. There's a crew, right, which is they all have different jobs, more or less. Different unions represented doing different things. Carpenters, labor.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I love, every place. Sure. It's like a colony as well.
I don't know how to say it.
Okay. Okay.
Similar, do the work that I.
Right. Right. Well, right. It's a fully functional, like, self
You know,
habitation.
or more.
It's its own habitat. It has all the workers in place. That's why I say colony. Like, you have the ant sculptures. And I was thinking of that. It functions that way. One of my favorite things about construction is every
Yep.
place has like noise ordinance. So you have to pull over and wait until like it's 7 p.m. or 7 a.m. or whatever the time is for the area. And that time is so high stress and it is ready. And once the doors open, they open everywhere because the painter's door is open and the cleanup crew's door is open and everybody just starts working a big machine, a big Rube Goldberg maze.
The,
Yeah. So that time period is where I got to see it
can,
all just wake up, and it's amazing to see because it is a fully functional habitat for the day. And then you leave it.
yeah, yeah,
And then you leave it and it's cold and
yeah,
your stuff is still on the ground. People steal it at night or pee on it, like and you just leave it. You just say bye. Half finished, whatever. It's amazing, but that's how you do it. So I don't know if there's a distinction in ironwork as far as like fitting and production and different things like that. I don't
uh-huh.
know.
Different people have different things they do. Different people have different things they do because they're good at.
What did you do? Okay.
Weld. I never got paid. I never got paid at work to weld. It just wasn't a guy that did someone else.
Okay. Okay.
Someone who welded every day. That was what they did. They were iron workers just like me. But it wasn't. I did.
Yeah, I worked
I did other things.
I worked on the side, was an iron worker in a very independent place that what they did would they would do like a chimney repair. You didn't do new construction, you
Mhm,
just did repairs
mhm.
with
That's
masonry.
iron work also.
Right.
That's all iron work also. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this one was with masonry, but one of the people who worked with us was a union iron worker who, he was barred from doing that sort of thing. Like he wasn't allowed to have that employment. He was doing it under radar
Correct.
because he's supposed to
If you're
go
not
and check
working to
in.
the union hall,
Yeah,
a union member.
right.
Now, listen, as an iron worker, they don't care if I'm mowing someone's lawn on Saturday to make extra money.
Right.
But if I'm going to go and do iron work somewhere, my job, they don't want me to do that except through the union hall. Yeah. So
Yeah, something very
but that's
unfortunate
all.
happened to me. I worked in a couple of different companies that were gas stations, and I was free to do so. But one person was a store manager, and he worked with me at two different locations in two different companies. He wasn't allowed to have another job by company rules, and unfortunately, my sister had come into my work just to say hi or whatever. Recognized him, went into his work where he was supposed to be, solo on. I don't know how to explain that, but no competition or whatever. So, but she ran into him there. Oh,
Competition. Well,
okay,
naturally,
yeah,
that's good.
yeah. So wow, it amazes me that we get into those kind of agreements, but hey, when it's time to pick up your job, you're not asking as many questions as when can I start? It's like, why can we get going? That's my experience. Is like when you come up there, you really want that job. So I've only been on a few flights. What was your first?
I was on an airplane. I
Okay,
can't
okay.
remember it now,
You know where you went?
but
Hello, SA.
you know, yeah, I've been to Brazil and England. Hello, SA. I've been to Brazil and England before. At ages that I don't remember going. I was like 3, 2, 4, whatever.
Right,
But we would go one year, would go to England the next, and then like that back and forth. The whole time that we were kids,
yeah,
because my parents wanted us to visit with their parents and their relatives and their sisters, their siblings, and none of my aunts and uncles on either side of my family, and none of my grandparents lived in the United States.
right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so you have to
So
do that. Yeah. My father, he didn't take us to his area enough. I mean, in comparison, and then in my mother's area it was more different because her mother, even though we would have time, she just had certain rituals that took hours. Like before bed fixing your face with that, camphor or
now,
whatever. And so you take six
yeah.
hours out of every day, and we travel time too. So we see her for an hour and a half at a time, at breakfast.
Now, later, like
Greetings
my
to
cousins,
Jamaica.
when we were older, my cousins, some of them came to America, some of them are still here. I have several cousins that have come to America
Yeah,
because,
yeah,
like I said, my grandfather was American, even though all of his kids are born in Brazil. Right?
right, right,
All of his children, including my dad, maintained U.S. citizenship because their father was an American citizen, and so my cousins or could all had citizenship if they wanted it. You know what I mean? And Brazil doesn't care if you're an American. Also, they don't. You can be a Brazilian and an American, have both
okay.
passports, and
They
they
have no
don't
issue.
care.
They don't think it's a conflict. Yeah.
No, no.
As somewhere like Canada, you'd have to give up your American citizenship, probably, right?
I don't know the laws, and I'm not going to pretend I do.
Oh
But
yeah.
yes, in
Okay.
some,
Sorry. I
but
thought
in,
maybe.
but in some countries, you're not allowed to be a dual citizen. That's correct.
Sure.
I
Okay.
don't know
Yeah,
which
yeah,
one. I don't know which ones. I don't know.
yeah. I don't know why that came to mind either.
I
I
think
apologize
America,
to
I
that.
think the United States frowns upon their citizens carrying dual citizenship, but I don't think they prosecute that. I think they frown upon it, though.
They may frown upon it, but I know in the many cases of people that have like Scottish or Irish, it doesn't seem to be that hard of a road for them. Nobody told me that it was
Yeah,
a hard time.
to
So I
be
don't
to
know.
be citizen in both. Yeah, I don't know.
But good evening, and Mickey Boy, the guest is Dougie Doug right here. I put his channel in there, and I'll fix that as a hyperlink, but I have to do it on a PC later. Okay. But thank you for coming in, and what's up, Batman fan, and also what else, Jamaica, and uh, thank you, welcome in Anna and SA. Thank you for coming in again, SA, and Doug. So here we go. Acquaintances made. So thank you all for your attendance and time, and I don't know where were we at, Doug. I'm still just chilling. But yeah, I understand that. And so that American citizenship gets you a lot of mobility in the rest of the world, even if it's at the grandfather class level. And I understand that the people who've moved as relatives, they may have wanted to stay because at the current time, I would probably want to stay here as well. Mm. I think you froze up a little bit. Yeah, yeah, I'm here. I'm here. You froze up. Let's see. Your cousins came and what is it that kept them? Okay, okay. Let me mute out and come right back. Is that on? Can you hear me then? No. All right. We probably got a break up here.
I can hear you
And I
now.
can hear you too. I
Now I
think it
can
was
hear you.
hung up.
I don't know what happened, but you froze. What I saw was you frozen.
Right.
You
And who
probably
knows
saw
what
me
they
frozen
saw.
too, right?
I really don't know. Yeah, that's what happened. You
I think they were
both of us.
tears
Right,
frozen.
right,
I
right,
think
right.
both of
There
us.
we go.
I
Bad
think.
connections all around. It couldn't get any better. But no, no. So you were speaking of your cousins when they came to visit, they stayed. And that's where you kind of cut. I was
Some did.
wondering, what is it that kept them?
Well, work opportunities,
Okay. Okay. So that's
right?
just as solid as they say.
Why would you want to work in why would you want to work in Brazil, right? Doing whatever when they could, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Um, just as that's one example, right?
But I could see myself wanting to like sell sun lotions and blankets, and you know what I mean. Just for just chilling out there, getting my neck dusted.
My cousin was an engineer, educated, trained engineer. My cousin SidE in Brazil.
Right.
He'd rather come to the United States and work as a waiter.
Wow. Then yeah. Wow. Okay. Is that
Okay,
because he can't use those credentials there, or is it because it's just
he had a job as an engineer.
oh, it's just a better
He had a
lifestyle
job as
here,
an engineer.
better lifestyle. Yeah. There's nothing
Yeah,
wrong with being a
well,
waiter, man.
as you know, there's been a series of political issues in Brazil, right?
Of course.
There was a time. There was a time in the '80s when they devalued the money, right? Now, what happens is a guy who was making a reasonable wage is all of a sudden making 10% of that,
And that
and
does add up as to what I was
that's
saying.
happened. That's happened more than once
That
in my
that does add
lifetime.
up.
In my lifetime, that's happened more than once in
So
Brazil.
that mother's best
The
friend.
government, they add two zeros to the end of the bill or whatever, and it's like now your money's worthless. It's like toilet paper. Most of my Brazilian relatives kept their money in the United States.
Yeah, because the currency's stable.
Not all of them.
Currency's
Yeah,
stable.
not all of them, but most of them. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean look, I
and
don't know. I don't know about
not
econ
only
like
that.
that. I don't know about econ like that, but it seems like it doesn't wobble much. The dollar is wherever they want it, really. you know,
Yeah.
it's wherever
Hmm.
they want it to be. It seems it's probably a phone call. I do want to send you some, yeah, low level trashy art, but I will need your address and then with my compliments, if you don't mind. I'll send you some stuff.
Absolutely, we could do that in the email, Joe.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Right?
We'll
In
do that.
the
Absolutely,
if
man.
you have
Thank you.
artwork, I'm happy. I do make a point of trying to collect artwork from people I meet in chat.
That'll be awesome, then. Yeah, I'd
I
love
don't,
to do it.
I don't know why. I don't know what it is, but I realized that several of my friends in chat were artists, and it occurred to me one day, like 2 years ago,
Right,
stuff for free. I've also purchased stuff from several
right,
chatters
right.
I know because because they're selling it, and I'm trying
Right.
to support them.
I
That's
personally
why.
love folk
And
art.
not to mention,
I love folk art. I don't care what it is.
yeah,
So anything, any silly little thing where it's a misprinted Korean made something, I love that kind of stuff. So I'm always collecting it. And of course, it's a cheap and free game. So I get to enjoy myself on things that don't cost me a thing. You just gotta dig.
yep.
And I like to live that way. I just like to not have a bunch of things hanging down on me. I hate to wear glasses. That's why I still didn't get any. I just use these occasionally when I can't see the chat.
I would it would be blurry for me at this.
Oh,
I
but
can
but
see
I'm
over
blurry
there
all
just
day.
fine.
I'm blurry all
Over
day.
there, I can see just fine.
The
It's
difference
only
is
like here that I can.
the difference for me is
Yes,
when the sun's out I can read and stuff. When the sun's not out, I cannot. At night I can't read a thing. I can't see that well. Yeah. Yeah.
vision. My age started to show through my vision. But first thing I realized that I became aware of was that I could read in natural light, but I couldn't in unnatural light. That
Because
was
it
the first
matters.
sign.
Because reading matters.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
the cereal for the
So
brain.
if I'm reading a book or a newspaper or I'm on my computer, I wear my glasses. Anything else, I don't really wear them.
So I have
Well,
two
I play
author
bridge. I
friends.
wear my glasses.
I have two author friends
Yeah,
that sent me their proof by like whatever you put on a Kindle, whatever that kind of device is. So I read these books, two books in my life like this. It was way too easy. It was so good. And I was like, I'll never do that again. I just did it because I'm going to buy it when it comes out. I was reading your proof. Sorry. But I didn't want to get it. It's too easy. I don't want my life to be that easy. I want to have the object and
I made a prediction just the other week. I think on my own panel.
okay.
And I think what I said was I predict that there'll be a point in the future, maybe not in our lifetime, but like maybe 50 years from now, when books are just don't nobody will make them anymore. They'll be completely obsolete.
No, and the way they make them now is terrible, actually, because the on-demand, book printing, like you can write anything you want, and then if your mom pays 15.99, they'll make one copy and send it to her, that sort of thing. um the major printers, like they used to use nice presses and all this sort of stuff, they basically just switched right over to the on-demand printing style. So now we have these jackets that fall right off because there's nothing but glue. The pages aren't sewn together, you know what I mean? Even a hardcover is like blank boards with glued on, you know what I mean, top over, like you would make in school, like as
I,
an
I,
art
I think
project.
I think there'll be a day, maybe 50 years,
Oh,
maybe
they won't
100 years,
exist, yeah.
when opening a book will be a memory to everybody. People will never have experienced it.
The priests are gonna have them. They have such a good library over here. These priests over here, even though they got a terrible church that's always like, well, sorry, I don't mean that. Whatever. Sorry. I just mean they ask for a lot of things, but they have a library that's like fantastic, and so I think the priests are gonna keep them.
Churches churches tend to do that. Churches ask for a lot of things, right?
Right. Well, yeah, but I think those preachers are gonna keep those books somewhere, and even in 1,000 years.
So maybe a handful of people will still read books,
Yeah,
but there'll be people who grow up in the future that never read a book.
there already are. I'm sure there already are because you
Every
can read it
every
on your phone.
everything is here on the screen. Everything. Yeah.
And
That's my
I
prediction.
didn't mind that idea until like all the paywalls started coming up from newspapers and whatnot. So you can't read the article now. I've never been on Reddit because you got to like sign in. I don't want to, you know? I wish. I missed a lot of stuff. I can't see it. hmm I don't ever want to make an account again. You know what I mean? Unless it makes me money or education. That's it. Those are the only two accounts I'll do.
Still watch TV, so I watch the Discovery Channel, Nat Geo, the Science Channel. I watch shit like that.
See, I'm always watching live streams.
I Yeah, you see, I still
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
TV. I'm old school.
Right. I mean, I haven't watched anything but live streams for a while, but It's just because it is just kind of an unfiltered window that people turn on and off, and it's so fascinating. Real life has always been more fascinating. I don't read fiction much.
It is an unfiltered window. I'll give you that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think humans are a bit of an interesting animal that I like to observe. It gives me some insight, yeah.
Hmm.
And it's like really public, and it seems people don't really kind of get that. It's interesting too, you know. And there's a lot of
Well,
patterns.
yeah, I mean, it's all public. Anybody can
Sure,
come,
sure.
but it's really what I notice is a lot of it is no, it's like it's a lot of YouTube goes unnoticed.
It would,
Let
yeah,
me
it
just say
would,
that.
it
And
would.
when I say a lot, I mean like 99% or more
Of course, yeah,
goes unnoticed. More than 99 goes unnoticed. So,
yeah. And
but
channels
yes,
that are
but
very
yes, it is public. Absolutely.
anybody can see it, and you know maybe you use the same email address for work or something. Who knows? Yeah.
It's kind of like the concept of hiding in a crowd. You know what I mean?
Right, right. My wife and I, we
When you're in New
very
York City, and I was just there the other day, the people are sick on the street, right?
right, right.
And you can look, and once again, you can look down a block from one corner. You'll see all kinds of different activity going on. People
Sure.
eating, people drinking, people smoking, people rapping, people listening to music, people blah blah blah. But the pedestrians walking by walk left and right, fucking oblivious, right? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, my wife and I, we very particularly do what we do, and what we
It
do is
it
we call it street theater. We keep pretending like we're about to do something else. We'll walk to somebody's car and mumble to each other and pretend like we're getting in. Those people are gone. We'll walk over that way as if we need to get to the, the sort of walk signal or something, and we disappear. Nobody can see us for hours. We're right there, but
yeah
we
yeah
just keep pretending like we're doing something else every 2 minutes. We're never
yeah. It
seen.
goes unnoticed. Yeah.
Yeah. I can hide
Hmm.
much better here than I can out there. I get a lot of eyes on. I get a lot of eyes on.
In a rural community
Mhm.
where people are not so like this. So I built a house on 2 acres. Everybody on the road had houses on 2 acres, right?
Right.
This space. We come and go. Nothing goes unnoticed,
Right. Right. Right.
right? You
As if
notice every fuck.
as
You
if the
notice
entire
every fucking
sound
thing.
wave travels down the holler and they just get it.
You know about the neighbors. You know about the neighbor's dog. You know about the
Sure.
other neighbor's horse. It's like nothing goes unnoticed. You get in
Right.
a dense urban population, everything goes fucking unnoticed, right? You could literally
How much information can you process?
commit murder
Not all of it.
commit murder on the street. You could commit murder on the street in front of hundreds of people and walk away, and nobody will bat an eye until they find the body, until they
Hey, look,
realize they're stepping over a body. You,
when you
you know what
think
I
of
mean?
the
It's
limitations
like,
of how much stimulus you can take in, right? I'll guarantee you, if you bring
yeah,
two jugglers of two different sizes and you murder somebody, nobody's going to see you. If you have two jugglers, one on each side, how could they possibly
yeah, they'll
see
be
what just
paying they'll
happened?
be they'll be paying attention to the juggler. Absolutely.
Mhm, mhm. Would not be seen. That's a
So that's
wild.
just those are just observations I've made over years.
I'm glad, man. I'm glad. That's how we get informed. Either by experience or by someone's wisdom, or I don't know what the other way is really. Oh, by making mistakes.
You watch
You
watch the
learn quite a
Discovery
lot.
Channel. Watch the Discovery Channel.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Read some National Geographics too. That might be really old information by now, though. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I still stick to my books. I went to the used bookstore and sold some off. I will probably be buying them back, at least the stuff they put in the glass case, because they're not going to value it as it is. You know what I mean? I can still make a profit if I just wait until I have that extra coin, and I will. It's a balancing, it's a juggling act as well.
Um, my dad and mom have I think I'd say probably close to 2,000 books in the house. Maybe that's a gross overestimate. Maybe it's only 1,000. But I
No,
mean, there's
it's more than you think it is.
there's
Cheers, Gut
hundreds and
Rod.
hundreds and hundreds of books. There's
It's
hundreds and
more than you
hundreds
think.
and, and now they're wondering now. Well, my dad, he's like, but my mom's wondering what she's gonna do with the books now.
Well, I
You know what
did
I
speak
mean?
with you about that, but it was in your chat, so it might not have been clear. But since you're in New
I
York,
got it. No, there's places to donate them to. I know,
right?
but
Well,
we're
not
gonna have
only
to
that,
load
but
them up in the
start
back
by call the buyer,
of a
the
truck,
book buyer,
take them somewhere.
because the book buyer will come see what you got, and he'll say, at 40 a piece, I'll take 3 of these instead of the whole lot, and then start going to the retirement homes and donating in that way, and then the rest will be recycled, and everything will be fine. Nobody cares. It's just paper.
A lot of them are like Time Life series hardbacks, coffee table books
Right.
from like the
Right.
'60s and '70s. Might have some value, like the Viking.
Yeah, it's tough because they don't like buying anthology types.
Another one they have Time Life series, Time Life series from like the '60s and
Yeah,
'70s, hardback, coffee table style book, and all kinds of history.
I don't
This
know if you've
king,
noticed
that
this,
king.
Doug,
You know
but
what I mean?
being that we live in an
And
area
stuff
where
like
you
that.
don't have bookstores anymore, basically, places like Target or the grocery store, Time still produces hard card magazines that are themed, such as, you know what I'm saying? Like it'll say Egyptian Dynasty or the legacy of whoever, you know.
I noticed them in the
Yeah.
grocery stores. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's a replacement for that, what you have, although what you have is much more durable. But hey,
We're,
how many
we're
times are you
not
going to
trying
read
to
it?
replace. We're not trying to replace any of it. We're trying to get rid of it.
No, no, no. I mean, for the market that's out there now, that's their option.
Oh yeah, yeah,
They don't get something they
yeah,
can,
sure.
theoretically pass down. It's a magazine, but it's a little stiff. It's still they
Yeah,
still serve that market.
but Time Life mass produced these books, and I don't think there's a lot of like uh, premium collector premium to go
No,
on them. You know what I mean?
no, no.
Nobody's gonna want them.
That's something that
Nobody's gonna
you.
pay. Nobody's gonna pay good. Nobody's gonna pay good money for it. Someone might give you a few bucks, right? Maybe,
Well,
right?
that's you start with the book buyer by phone. He'll come look. He'll take the treasures, and then you go to donating, and then you end up at Goodwill with the rest, and that'll be anthologies because most bookstores won't even buy anthologies. Basically, anything that's encyclopedic. They're not looking for that. They're looking for private press or under a 10,000 units. What's that?
Yeah, nobody wants them. Yeah, I
Well,
agree with you.
because everybody had them growing up because of the telephone lines on the TV, where you call it up and they send you one every month until you get the courage up to say, please stop, Or if you don't pay, they
Hmm.
still stay in your house. Nobody's ever sending them back. So we grew
You
up
have to
with them.
send a
They were
penny.
everywhere.
You send them one penny taped to the thing, and they'll send you
Yeah.
the book, and then they send you a bill for the books that are coming. Right? You pay full
With
price, $1.99 or whatever, for the
with the
books that are
cassettes
coming.
and CDs and gluing a penny, I did that about 12 times. I did that about 12 times.
Did you ever buy more? Did you ever buy more CDs though?
I did when Columbia House fixed it because they made a rewards program. So I would buy CDs. They would cost about $7, sometimes 4. I never paid $30 for a CD. Never.
Yeah.
Because there are ways when you use
I
the
remember the
coupon.
same program with I remember the same program with albums, records.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
before
I do too.
CDs.
I do
Back in the
too.
'70s. Back in
I do too.
I think my brother did it.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
think my
remember that
brother
because
did it because we did get some of those in the house,
my sister would have
and
done
we
it
got
in the 70s.
the splashy yellow covers with like all the greatest hits from the '60s. And I say
Yep.
splashy, the yellow around the rim, and everything else is splashy inside.
Right.
All the artists' pictures
They'd
and
always
stuff.
have
Yeah.
like well they'd have to have like that blue Rolling Stones cover with the sort of the silhouette, you know what I mean? That one would always be there. There's this like Kiss,
Hmm.
but it would be like the Casablanca, like the what is it, like the disco Kiss or something. But they would have like big, items to catch your attention there. Jim Croce. I like Jim Croce myself, but
I don't like
things to
Jim
get.
Croce.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But then they would have to have some maybe a Hank Williams or somebody for them. They had to have everything covered. But yeah, I saw all those ads. My sister was in the time to do that. to not pay them. Certainly she didn't pay them. Certainly she was underage. She probably sent it to the neighbor's house with a fake name, and just waited for the postman. Those were the days. But no, I've been mailing stuff for a long time based on that too, just based on phone or IRC or BBAC or the futures, the future social medias, and now this thing. And so like I'm glad that you don't mind, at least by Gmail, that I can send you these, little items, just as tokens, because you're volunteering to be here. I think I have well, I know no, I'll just keep that to myself. I said I think I have a last item. I send that all the time. I always send something that I don't have any more of, or that there's only one copy of. I'll do that all the time, even if it's like a letter. I'll throw in something that maybe I recorded that nobody has. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
that I don't have. I don't keep it. I let it go. Like go away. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Like live somewhere else, or they'll throw it away for me.
I have a lot of cassette tapes
Oh, I love
that we
them.
made when when I played with the guys back in the '80s.
Right.
Um, I don't know what to do with them. I don't even want to
Pika,
listen to
I'm
them
on.
anymore.
Go ahead, go ahead.
You know?
No, no, I know what you mean. Hold on a second. That's my daughter. Hold up. You good, all right? Doug, this box, it's all home recordings. They're just loose
Yeah,
cassettes of,
yeah. Hmm.
band practice and all that kind of nonsense.
Yeah, I got them too. I got them too.
Of course not. No way.
Maybe the cassette stretches. I don't know. Cassettes don't cassettes don't weather well over time. You
No,
know what I
especially
mean?
like that where I have them in a box with no labels or anything. I mean, I don't have time to listen through them and find what is on them. That would be a fool's errand. It's not happening. I'm gonna randomly send
Oh,
those out to people. Yeah, I never did.
I have a couple of recordings from when we played in the bar that sound fucking terrible. I recorded straight into my boombox,
Right,
right?
right.
I'm just recording, right? And you can't. I mean, they're veritably inaudible. You know what I mean? Like you
Those
can't.
three
You don't want to listen to it because
There's those
all you
three
hear is
little
the
slots.
din from the bar, and
There's three
yeah.
little slots, and
And
behind it there's a thing about this big, and it says Mike, MIC. And those three little
yeah,
slots.
yeah,
That's the only thing that's picking up the room
yeah.
noise.
Mhm. Well, I mean, we might even have been playing well, but usually we
Yeah,
played better at rehearsal. We always played better at rehearsal than we did when we gigged. You know what I mean? It
of
was kind
course.
of weird. Like they would get too high.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Of course. Yeah, yeah. Man, yeah, I know. I mean, most of the
It's party night instead of
yeah.
work. It would be like party night for them instead of work.
Yeah,
You know
so
what I
we would
mean?
have it would always be a thing where other bands would say, "I don't dare want to go first," and we would like, "Please let us go first." That way we get off work and we can get drunk and
Yeah.
we can do our thing, you know what I mean? So let us go first. I don't care. They're like, "But nobody will be here." And I'm like, "I don't care. It's better to get off work than to join in." I don't care. So we would do that all the time. And then we would lose people, and the headliners would be mad. And it's like, well, we thought we booked you on headlining to give you like that spot of, sort of honor or whatever. And the fact that you didn't keep the people isn't really us. You know what I mean? So that's how it goes. My wife and I, we recorded a whole CD on this. It's about the size of a Game Boy. You see, we recorded the whole thing on
Yep.
this. It just goes to a little tiny card. You know what I mean? That's amazing. You know what I mean? That didn't cost us a thing. We just did it at home. A little bit better than a cassette Walkman, or I mean a boombox. They kind of were, yeah. Just like this. That's all this is. This is just that simple.
Shoebox.
That was just thing. Yeah.
The 4-track.
Oh, yeah. Oh, like a Tascam with the cassette rolling. They're terrible because that little tiny thin cassette.
It went into the machine and recording the cassettes on. Everything went through it. The 4, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
But
yeah.
I never bothered because I just couldn't be fucked, you know.
Yeah. You know what? I have as a cassette player, I have one of those mobile units when they go like interview people in the jungle, and you strap it on and you have 2 mics. I have one of those, so I could have fed it into there. I get good quality. That's a Sony. It's a good one. But it's literally like an in the field like journalist tool. I use it to record mixtapes sometimes, but that's about it. Trying to keep it alive by keeping it moving. People and things tend to seize up when they lack, mobility.
Yeah, of course. Everything seizes up with lack of use.
So I try to use things just a little. All right, Doug. Well, we've almost done an hour, man. I can't ask you for much more. Unless you come up in a
I
few
think so.
weeks.
I'm just sitting here. I'm all good. But
I know.
I do.
But I do like to
I do.
limit things like that to an hour to keep it
Sure.
as an interview, and it's for you. Like if I do something silly later, it's not tagged on to this. You know what I mean? That'll be on
Cool
me.
beans.
Okay. All right.
Good
Cool,
enough.
man.
I'll,
Thank
I'll
you.
figure out how to leave. I'll figure out how to leave here. Joe,
Okay.
thank you for having me up. Okay?
Thank you too. And when you're having a panel, if you don't mind, I'll come up and say hi.
I'm considering a panel tomorrow night.
Cool.
Considering,
I'm not doing this
and
tomorrow. I'm
let me
not
just
doing
say,
this.
Joe, you're always welcome.
Thank you, sir.
You know,
Thank you, sir.
I might not. I'm not saying I'll definitely do one tomorrow. I'm thinking I might. I don't know why, because it's the middle of the week, and I was thinking I should panel more frequently for a little while because I've only been doing like about 6 a month, right? I don't
Maybe
know why I should. I'd
my
maybe do 8
suggestion
or
would
9.
be,
Maybe do 8 or 9 a month instead. You know what I mean?
yeah, and you probably don't even have to pay yet, right? But my suggestion would be like
I don't.
Wednesdays and Fridays.
Yeah, I don't like to have a schedule because then it becomes a burden,
I don't mean like all the time. I
right?
just mean those are good hot days to do, maybe because some people already got paid, and some people, they're toasting, they're doing good, and it's good to meet people when they're jolly. All
Good. I'll keep that in mind. So.
right.
Okay, cool,
Thank you,
boss.
sir. See you later.
We'll see you.
I'll come up on your panel. Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, what's up, Q-Meister? Get me on the horn, Chuck. What's up, Chuck? Oh, you want to show up? That's funny, bro. Why you yelling? Thanks, Dougie Doug. Why you yelling, man? All right, we do have to cut it out, man. It's almost an hour, and it's an interview. We're going to keep it straight. That would be season 2, episode 1. It's a wrap. See you later on the Joe Show. Just kidding.